Hi, Lisibana. Welcome this morning.
Hi, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, just cold.
Yeah, it's quite chilly out here too.
Yeah, it's the cold front. I think this weekend, yeah, we're gonna be indoors.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. How's the business doing?
Yo, it's I don't know. It's bad. It's not good.
Also, so you definitely need these coaching sessions then.
I do. I need the whole thing. I need the whole course. I need everything. I need everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
you'll be fine. Pauline, how are you? I think we're going to start now. I would like to just welcome everybody. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first group coaching session. This is our first one, and I know that we just have to go through a lot of stuff so that you guys can understand why are we doing these sessions. And since this is our first session, we will not only talk about the topics of the day, which is your goal setting and budgeting, but we would also just like to share with you our coaching objectives and what is really expected of everyone here. So maybe let's maybe go and look at our objectives. I think in our last webinar, if you remember, I did show the timetable for webinars and for coaching sessions, but I just want just to be specific right now, just talk about our objectives. So we are going to have 3 individual coaching sessions where you are just going to sit with the coach one-on-one. And I always say everyone must attend these sessions, all of them. You can't have one session and not. So even if you are not available for a session, please you communicate with your coach that has been allocated for you. And then we're also going to have 3 group coaching sessions, which are 2 groups. So you are group A, so you'll be my group. So I'll be your mother until the end of the program, and I'll be coaching you and just helping you with your business. And I think it's gonna be nice because then we're gonna know each other even better. Owen, just go back to that slide again. And then obviously the coaching sessions and tools that we are going to use for all these sessions are going to be obviously linked to the webinars that we'll be doing. So it's not going to be something new that you see. If we're doing goal setting, you'll see in the webinars also we'll have goal setting. We'll still have the business model canvas. All the things that we'll be talking to in our coaching sessions will be things that you are going to see in your webinars and you'll be trained on. And then we are going to obviously set a strategy for you or a growth plan. So we are not just doing these sessions for just talking to you and finding information. We are going to do some work with you, and you'll see, and I know that you've already received some of the tools today so that you understand what we'll be dealing with today. And then we are going to have a coaching plan. So when you work with your coach, there will be a plan going forward. By the end of the program, this is the things that you will have to achieve. And then that is also a customized plan. Not every plan is going to look the same because our problems are different, our challenges are different, our highlights are different, and our businesses are definitely different. Yeah. We can move to the next slide. So obviously there's expectations. And I think we did in our first orientation, we did mention to you guys that you are expected to attend at least 6 out of these 8 webinars that we're going to be going through. And then all the coaching sessions, you can't miss a coaching session because even if you are not available, we can make a plan for another day. So you must just keep the communications open, speak to your coach and say, I cannot be available for this session. Can we, because we are business people, I know we get busy and things change all the time. Yeah. And then by the time you are done with this coaching, you need to be at least understanding your budgeting, starting from your personal budget to your business budgets. So today we're just gonna focus on your personal budget. And I know most of you have sent your budgets in. We already have them, we are looking at them. But also today we are going to also work on the budgets and then you'll obviously have to create a budget from today and then submit. We'll give you the dates for that. And then when you meet with your coach, we'll discuss that budget and also look at other things that we've given you to do. And then we'll also you must have a business model canvas completed by the end of the program. I think maybe in the next session, you will have to complete your business model canvas. I know that there's one. Other people have already submitted their BMCs, but because it's a work in progress. It doesn't mean that business model canvas is complete and it's okay. So your coach will also assist you with that to make sure that you've covered all the 9 blocks of the BMC, and then you will have a growth plan. So while you're working with your coach, you'll start developing that growth plan, because that will your goal setting will show us where you want to be, and then we'll create that for you with you. And then also you need to know how to record. So by the time we are done on the program, you'll know how to actually do your recording, money coming in, money going out. So you need to know how to do your cash flow. And I think maybe our experts will also help us in our next session, just on how to record and how to develop a cash flow. You can go to the next slide. All right. So this is how our coaching timetable looks like. Let me just minimize here so I can see. Okay, so today it's the 19th of August. It's our group coaching. We'll be looking at our SMART goal sheet. Here we're going to identify goals. We're going to know how to plan and prioritize our business actions, and also just be accountable for that SMART sheet. Yeah. So every time when you're running your business, if you have set goals, you're gonna have to go back to those goals and see what have you achieved thus far. And if you've completed something, obviously you'll scratch it out, or you'll just write, I've completed this goal. And now you can see that you are progressing in all the actions that you had planned. And then we'll have our individual coaching sessions, which are going to be obviously per appointment. So we've decided that we'll send you dates. There will be a link that will send to you, and then you can put in your availability, and then you will meet your coach on that day. So this is going to happen from the 5th to the 9th of September. And then our next group coaching session is going to be on the 30th of September. Here we're going to talk to the business model canvas, look at the one that you've sent, and then also look at your financial recording and costing. And then we'll also do a little bit of pitch practice. So I have developed some tips for how to pitch, because remember in webinar 9, you'll be pitching. But also remember, you'll only pitch if you've completed the things that you need to complete. All the submissions must be done, your homework, your coaching sessions. You must have attended all the coaching sessions, and you must have attended 6 webinars at least. So you are not going to qualify for pitching, guys, if you don't complete all the necessary assessments and the coaching sessions. And then we'll also have our individual coaching sessions again from the 17th to the 21st of October. And then we'll have our group coaching again on the 11th of November. Yeah. And you'll see that on the individual coaching, there's always things that you're going to be dealing with. Obviously, if you want maybe assistance, like I was talking to Lisibana when we just opened, and Lisibana, I asked him, how's your business? And he said, yeah, there's a lot of challenges in my business. So maybe those challenges are not there right now. I didn't write anything about challenges, but you are allowed to talk to your coach about your challenges. And then maybe those challenges is things that you can put on your SMART goals to say, I want to get away from this challenge. How do I solve my problems? And then we can talk about that. So your coach there's open communication to your coach. I don't know, maybe what we could do, we could also maybe you must have a WhatsApp a number for your coach where you can communicate with the coach. You're allowed to do that. As long as it's going to be professional, we keep that WhatsApp communication very professional. And then we'll also have our individual coaching per appointment again from the 28th of November to the 2nd of December. So probably we might make sure that we finish by the 1st of December, because on the 2nd of December, that's when we have our last webinar where you guys are going to be pitching. Yeah. Thank you. Let's move on. So I'm just going to make you understand how a coaching session will look like. So you will receive a personalized schedule for all the sessions. with all the times and dates. But if you don't maybe agree, as I said, you are allowed to actually talk to the coach and change that time. And then you must confirm your appointment and availability on the link. And then we'll communicate all the expectations and deliverables one-on-one with your coach. And then we'll discuss a coaching plan. So that first session, we will have a coaching plan of what's going to happen in the coaching sessions. And the coaching session will usually last an hour. Probably the first one might be a bit longer because we'll be knowing each other and just discussing how the coaching is going to look like. So for us to actually develop a coaching plan, we are going to obviously need to do some due diligence. This is where we are analyzing your business to see how are you doing? You know, what's happening in your business? What are the challenges? So we will send you a link after the session so that you can fill out, so that we understand where your business really is. And then what happens after a coaching session or before the coaching session ends, I'll usually give you the next steps. These are things that you need to do to get to this point, or these are the things that you need to fix. So your coach will always give you advice and guide you. So the coach is not there to do things for you. I sometimes feel like people think, oh, I have a coach. My coach is going to go register my business for me. It's going to go help me with my tax. I will give you advice, do 1, 2, and 3. But I'm not going to do that for you. You are going to do it yourself, but I'll be holding your hand through the whole process. Can move on, Owen. Okay, so this is how the group A looks like. So there are people who are in ICT, which is printing, and then there's also people who are in trade. Those are people, I think, buying and selling. And then we've got people in recycling. So maybe I think we've sent this to you guys. If you see that there's somebody who's doing what you're doing, please let's collaborate with those people, start talking, because I know that we can learn a lot from each other, especially if we are running the same type of businesses. And then we've got farming. There's a lot of people in farming. This is so interesting. This group also, please talk to each other, learn from each other. Neziswa, you know, if maybe you can ask about anything, you know, probably you might even be experiencing the same challenges, or somebody has solved that challenge before. So you can learn a lot from each other. That's my group A, and then we can just pass the group B. I think Nopila will talk to that in the next session. Okay, so today's topic is going to be goal setting and action planning. But maybe before I just move on, I just want to know if maybe somebody wants to ask any question from the group. Okay, so we'll just move on. So I think before I start, maybe the question is, why should we do goal setting in our businesses? And I would like to just say every business needs to set goals. Okay, and so for every business to set goals, it's because you know, sometimes you are thinking everything in your head, and then the days go by, and then you forget the things that you need to do. So usually it's important in a business because it gets so busy to set those goals. So when a business sets goals, it makes its priorities clear for everyone involved in that business. So the purpose of goal setting is to show employees what they need to focus on in the business in the upcoming 3 months, in the upcoming month, in the upcoming year. So remember, you are not alone in the business. I know some of us are still running our businesses alone, but you're going to get to a point where you've got employees. But if you're not setting goals with your employees, they will not know your vision, you know, so you need to align your vision with your employees. And then goals are very important. They're a very important part of running a successful business. They can give you a clear focus. They can motivate your employees, and you can set targets for your business so that you can work towards those targets. But if you're not setting targets, how do you know that your business is succeeding? You know, but those goals also, it's not something you can just write. I want to develop a marketing strategy for my business. But you don't say, when do you want to do it? How you going to do it? How much is it going to cost you to develop that marketing strategy or to actually get to those sales, the sales target? If you have a sales target, that is connected to money. You know, how much is it going to be and when can you achieve that goal? So it is important for your goals to be specific, measurable, attainable or actionable, relevant, and they must be time bound. So you must always have a deadline. Otherwise, you're not going to work towards finishing that goal or achieving that goal if you don't have the time or the deadline. Yeah. Also, guys, you don't have to set unrealistic goals. You know, you can't say, I want to build a skyscraper. You know, I want to get into property, but I want to build a Carlton Center. You know, you've never built anything. You start small, you know, so it's nice to have those small little goals that are achievable, and you take little steps to get to the bigger goal. Yeah. So usually it's good to, if you want to achieve goals, make them short, make them simple, make them measurable, make them actionable, and also achievable. Yeah. And they have to be relevant, you know, to what you're doing. All right, Owen, we can move to the next slide. So you'll see, if you say specific, you need to be detailed. So I'm going to Cape Town. When am I going to Cape Town? Who am I going with? What am I packing? How much is it gonna cost me for this trip? So goals are just like planning a trip. You know, where am I going? When am I going? So you have to be really specific of the time, how much it's gonna cost you, what you're gonna pack. You look at the weather, you know, it's cold in Cape Town, so I must pack all the warm clothes. So you need to be very specific. It must be measurable. You can't measure a goal. If you can't measure a goal, how can you monitor your progress? And how do you know when you've reached it? So the only way you know is, like I said, you have to put the deadline. It has to be time bound. And a goal should be measurable so that you know if you're on track and if you ultimately have reached your target. Details, guys, amounts, size, quantities, qualities. So all those things, you need to be able to measure that goal. You know, I said I'm going to sell 500 T-shirts in the next 3 months. Now you measure. You've only sold 450 of those T-shirts. And then you look at why. Then it's easy to come up with solutions to that problem. Because I plan to sell 500, there must be something wrong. What is it that I'm doing wrong? So you can measure that. They have to be actionable. Most importantly, when setting a specific goal, detail the required actions and the steps which will accomplish that goal. And you'll see with the tools that we sent you, you are able to write an action, and then when you're going to complete that action. So it will give you that, the template gives you that space where you can write all those things and when are you gonna reach the goal. Okay, and they have to be realistic. Like I said, you can't build a skyscraper in a year or in 3 months. So you have to be realistic with your goals. Consider your environmental and personal limitations. Can I do this? Do I have the funds? Do I have the capability to do what I'm saying I'm going to do? So your goals must be attainable and achievable. Goals should stretch you beyond your comfort zone, but don't set goals that are impossible. So they have to be possible. Break big goals down. That's what I'm saying. The big goal, it's there. You have a big goal, but then you must set smaller achievable action steps that you're going to take to actually reach the bigger goal. And then your goal should have a time frame. When do you want to see this thing happening? You know, like you said that you must have a specific date and time. This is when I want to complete my goal. Have a cutoff date or time. And then try to set time frames on the smaller goal steps to ensure the final goal date is achieved. So you will see, I'm going to show you an example after this, that you'll have the bigger goal. I want to complete my marketing strategy by the 30th of October. Owen, can you move to the next? Because there's an example there that I just want to share. Okay, so let's look at this example. So you want to develop a creative marketing strategy. What are the actions? Because it's not just going to come up. I want to develop a marketing strategy and now it's there, you know, in one day. So first of all, my first action, I would want to explore all the social media platforms. I want to do my research. I want to see the other businesses that I'm competing with. Where are they? What platforms are they using? Are they using Facebook? And how many people are they reaching? You know, and then maybe that research that I want to do, I want to complete this research by the 26th of August. It's the 19th today, but on the 26th of August, I must have explored all the social media platforms and understanding how they work and how they can improve my business. And then I'm going to choose one that will obviously work for me. And then I will appoint a social media expert to assist me. When do you want this? Remember, you've got a budget. Now you're going to look at your budget. Will I be able to afford a person who can do this for me? Because I'm not good at IT. I'm not good at content creation. I know what my business is all about, but I don't understand how to do this. So I need to get someone. I'll be able to get someone by the 30th of September because I can see my budget allows me to do that. But when do you want to actually develop this strategy? You want it done by the 30th of October. So you know that when this person comes in, they'll start looking at your content and taking pictures of your products, and looking at all the platforms where you're going to post and when, and then you want that done by the 30th of October. So by the 30th of October, you must have that strategy done. Yeah. So some of the examples could be, I want to reduce my business expenses. What are the actions? I want to look for a smaller shop to pay a lower rental fee and start buying stock in bulk. That could be, then you can put a date on that I want this done by the 26th of August. Start looking at a shop, and then to move into a new space in 3 months. I want to move into a place in 3 months' time after my lease has expired. Then you put a date on that. I want to send a notice to my current landlord by end of next month. So you see, you've got these little actions, but the bigger goal is for you to reduce your business expenses. So in the next 3 months, you'll see that, okay, now I'm not paying 15,000 rent. I've reduced my rent because I really don't need this bigger space. I'm going to at least reduce my cost by 7,000 rand because the rent for the smaller space is 8,000 rand. Yeah. So I want to increase productivity among my employees. What are the actions? I need to conduct a training need analysis. I want to see where are the gaps. I can see that my employees' productivity is not the way I want it to be. So these are the actions that I'm going to take. I'm going to find a training provider for all the skills that I think my employees need. And then I want this training done in 6 months' time. So you see everything, you plan it. And then as you do these actions, you write that I've completed a need analysis, done. You check that. Then find a training provider. I found somebody who can train my employees, and you check that. And then you start then doing the training. And when it's done also, you can tick that out as a completed task. So this is just one of the examples. That but obviously you must think, you must really go back after the session and sit down and say, what is it that I want to fix in my business? What is my goal? Because I'm sure everyone, when you start a business, you know where you want your business to be. You've got a sales target. I want to improve my profit. I want to improve my revenue. I want to employ a person, but how am I going to employ a person if I'm not even sure if I'm making money and will I afford to pay that person? All right, we can move on. Yeah, so what happens is when you do your goal setting, so you'll have maybe, it's advisable to have maybe 3 to 4 goals, but you need to prioritize your goals. You know what's important in your business. So what you'll do, you'll see on the tools that we sent you, except for the action plan, there is a place where you're gonna put, there's goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, goal 4, goal 5. But it's advisable not to have a lot of goals so that you can just focus and prioritize. So what you'll do, the first goal that's very important to you, you'll start with that goal and then put on the little, the task. What is the task that you need to do? And then what are you trying to achieve? You'll put there, I want to develop a marketing strategy. Sometimes if you're not alone, you can put the person that you think needs to be responsible for that action. So you'll put that person who's developing that marketing plan. What are the deadlines? When are you going to complete that goal? And then just like that, all the tasks, you just put them there. And the comments, you can say, oh, if there's a problem, maybe every time you have a meeting with people and you're looking at the actions that you need to complete. Yeah, so this is an action plan that you're going to use for all your goals. But you'll have to mention all the goals first. Goal 1, goal 2, this is my goals. These are the deadlines. And then all the little actions that you're gonna take to achieve that goal must also have a deadline. Like I made in that example. So every goal will have a deadline. And every time you complete, it's either you scratch that goal out or you can maybe write on the comments, I've completed this goal. And if there's issues about all the, while you are busy with the actions, you can write your comments on there. And if you've got a team, you can always communicate your actions. But if you're alone, it's for you to go back to this to see if you are still on track. So you must always go to action plan and see if am I still on track. It seems like my deadline was yesterday. Let me reevaluate what happened, and then you start again. It doesn't mean you failed. You can actually maybe change the deadline because maybe you're unrealistic. You're not realistic about that goal. So maybe change the date and say, I didn't know that this thing could take so much time, especially with registration, things like registrations. And you can put a deadline, then you go to CIPC, they give you an issue, it takes longer. So you can always reevaluate that and change your deadline. So I think it would be nice if everybody has a laptop, maybe use this on an online sheet, or so that you can just improve and change easily. But if you don't have, you can just maybe print it out and write your actions by pen. So we are going to be expected to actually fill this in and submit to your coach. I think the submission is going to be on the 3rd. We'll talk to that later. And then let's move on to budgeting. Okay, so most of you, I think, know how to use this budgeting sheet. I've seen some of your homework that you've sent through. But I think it would be nice when we do our one-on-one session to really look at the budgets and understand. So the most important thing, you need to know where your income is coming from. So sometimes you don't have one income stream, you maybe have two. Sometimes there's money that obviously maybe if you are a couple, money comes from your husband or your wife, and then the other income comes from the business. So you have to write all those budgets there. And then sometimes you budget for something, but it doesn't happen the way you had planned. Then you can put the actual. What was the actual amount that you spent? So I could have budgeted that my income is going to be 20,000 rand, and then someone doesn't pay me, or I don't get paid that month. Then I will write my actual amount that I've received. I've only received 15,000 rand. Then you write that 15,000 rand, and then you go to expenses. Remember, we talked about needs and wants. So we start with the needs. The needs are very important. Those are your necessities, things you cannot live without, your rent, your food, your electricity, your rates. And I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes I hear people, I'm not paying myself. So I want to know, like, how do you then fulfill these needs? So if you budget properly, then you'll know how much your budget is. And then when you plan for your salary, you can say, okay, if my needs are 5,000 rand a month, I must make sure then for my business, I pay myself maybe 5,000 or 6,000 rand, so I can cover all of these needs. And then we talked about the needs. The needs are your rates. Even if you're running your business from home, I just feel like you are using your resources at home. Maybe you should pay a rent for your business, But for now, these are just your personal needs. So what I was saying is that the next session that you're going to have with your coach, you look at this budget, but then you'll start looking at also your sales budget and your expenditure budget, so that you can even say, okay, now these are the needs. Then in your expenditure budget, you'll include that as your salary, to say, so that we can cover for all these expenses. Then you can start paying yourself. But you first need to know what your needs are. And then there's wants, the things that come up. I want to buy a new phone. I want to do this. How are you going to do that? So you write that one there as an expense. So you write, those are the things that you really don't need, but you want, you can live without them. But also if you budgeting, it's now you can decide how much you're going to spend for that want. Then obviously what you do, you take your income, less all the expenses, and then whatever you left with, it's your profit. But also that you need to decide. But remember, this is just for a personal budget. It's not for business. But whatever is left, it's your savings. You can maybe put that money there, because that money also, it could be some injection to your business. Most people, when they're starting out, they need this budget, because at least you can say, okay, I've paid for all my needs and wants. Now I need to look at my business. I still need a machine that I need to buy. This is the same budget that you can use to do that, because if you're not getting funding anyway, you are funding your own self. You can loan yourself from your personal budget. So it's really important to know how to use these budgets. Yeah, but it's important to start with your personal budget before you actually budget for your own business. All right, let's move on.
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Yes, it's Eric here. I have a question, or maybe a clarity.
Yeah.
Can can the business budget affect the personal budget, or maybe can your someone personal budget affect the business budget? Then, if so, maybe how can one try to avoid such?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you know what's the problem? If you're not recording, that's why I always say, maybe if you can take care of your budgets weekly, look at, especially the business one, look at it weekly, all your transactions, then you're not going to be affected, because you'll plan properly. You'll already see that I'm not doing well. So it means I'm going to have to take something from my personal budget. So it can be affected, definitely. Both of them can be affected. But I feel like if you do your recording sooner, rather than waiting end of the month and then you see, oh, there's a problem, but if you do it weekly, I always say set out a day. If it's a Sunday that you're not busy, just set out 1 hour a day and then look at what has come out, what has come in, and then you can already see if there's a problem or not. But if you're not keeping the records, it's not easy to see that, if there's a problem earlier. So I think it's for you just to make sure you know what's coming in and what's going out. And then you can at least diagnose the problem earlier before it gets bigger. Yeah, so definitely, I mean, it's a business and things are never the same. In month to month, things change. You get a good month, you get a bad month. But I feel like if you just keep your records and you give it attention every week, don't wait until end of the month. Yeah, definitely it will be affected.
Okay, now I understand. It's clear, because I used to leave the papers to be a pile. Maybe by the end of the month, or sometimes after 3 months, some were missing and I will get discouraged. So now if you say every week, maybe I can set up a day. It will make things easy for me to track back and check maybe where I did a mistake or what. Because I used to leave everything. Sometimes it will be a year and I will send to auditor, and it's expensive to have a professional auditor. So that's how maybe that's the part that I think I might get it. I got it wrong. I have to fix that part.
Yeah, and I think maybe what you can do already now, maybe from today, that could be some of your actions, like improve that. That's what thing you need to improve my record keeping, and these are the things that I'm gonna start doing better. So I think that's one of the things that you need to put as your goals going forward. Yeah, and I know, I mean, Eric, it's so tedious. It's a tedious exercise to actually do your recording, especially when it has piled up. The other thing I've noticed that the receipts and the invoices, especially in paper, they start fading, if you keep them for a long time. I don't know if you've experienced that. After that year, when you look at that slip, it's gone. You can't see the information. Yeah.
Okay, no, thanks. You have answered my question. Thank you very much.
So I think for everybody, the other thing that I think works, even for me in my business, I usually scan, if it's paper, I will scan it and put it in one folder, so create a folder maybe monthly, that all the receipts for the month, because that's going to also help you with your tax returns and all that. But also just planning going forward, you can see for this month, this is all the money that went out. So if you keep those receipts there and invoices, say, okay, this is all the money that went out and this is all the money that came in. So maybe do a monthly folder. You say for Jan 2022, this is what happened. So you scan everything and put it in that folder. And it's nice if you're receiving things by email, because then you can just move them into that one folder for that month. And then when you really want to do even your books, you can send that folder to your bookkeeper if you have a bookkeeper that's helping you out. Okay.
Yes, I would like to ask, how do you normally deal with unpaid invoices? Because I know it's good on budgeting, it's good on paper. You say you want to receive this much money, and you find that whoever's paying a lot of money, they're the ones who normally doesn't pay. So you just like, I don't know, how do you deal with that on the budgeting side?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that. That's why you'll see even on all your budgets, you'll have your actual, and then you'll have what you've budgeted for, or that money is coming in, but it doesn't happen. that I think everybody in business will deal with those difficult customers, who never pay on time. But I think what I was suggesting to someone the other day, they were complaining about a certain client that never pays on time. So all you do, I think on your invoices, have those terms and conditions at the bottom. Just write that this invoice should be paid in 14 days or in 7 days. But also maybe the contracts are also important, if you have somebody that maybe you are supplying with something, maybe a product, you're supplying a product or you're providing a service to this person, have a contract in place to say all my invoice, and in that contract, there must be a terms and conditions for all payments, terms and conditions for my payments must be done in 7 days or in 14 days. So from the date of invoicing. So I think it's more communicating with your clients or customers. So it's a hard one. The only way is for you to be assertive about it. You remember we spoke about that in our first webinar, where we talked about communicating about money, So if you're talking to your clients, sometimes you just need to be assertive. I'm providing a service for you and I need to be paid by this time. But obviously you can never be aggressive. You don't want to lose that client or customer. So it's for you just to maybe be professional about it, have that contract in place and have the terms and conditions for all payments. Yeah. Oh, I see that somebody wrote that. I also asking for deposit upfront could help. Yes, definitely. I think especially when you're making a product, for those guys who are making products, I think like if you are making dresses or starting something from scratch, you need money to do those things. And if you're going to be paid late, especially for that client that actually is a late payer, that's the client you must ask a deposit from, so that at least you know that even if they haven't paid at the right time, but at least you've covered your costs for making that product. Lisiban, again, what's your business?
I'm in printing.
Yeah.
Printing and branding, yes.
Yeah, and you're spending money at providing that service.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot, because there's raw materials that you need. You need paper, you need, ink, you need all those things. You need to deliver those products to the customer. So probably ask for that deposit, and it could be the 50% deposit. So at least you know that you've covered your production costs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Taisha. Can I add on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going through the same. Whereby the clients, I was struggling to get my balances or the deposit, but since I've managed to do the contracts, I'm winning already, and also it will help out legally.
Yeah.
Because you have a contract. You see?
Yeah. So I think it's really formalizing your systems and processes in your business. Need to formalize those things. Don't just do verbal contracts and then the person doesn't fulfill the promise. Yeah. So I think just formalizing your systems and processes, guys, it's very important. Invoicing is important. Even if you don't have an invoice, at least have that receipt book that you can buy from CNA or whatever, right in there. But I'm feeling like, Tabi, so thank you so much for the contracts. Contracts are very important and they bind the person and they know. And I like the fact that you said legally, it also assists you. Yeah, that's great. So I think maybe those who don't have contracts, we can also look at. I know that if you don't know how to write a contract nowadays, you can find a general contract that you can just buy, and you just make sure that your client fills it in and you both sign on it. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. So guys, our next group coaching session, like I said, will be on the 30th of September. Just note that we are going to send you a link where we're just gonna ask you questions. That's why I put that stethoscope there. It's like a health check of your business, just to see, like, diagnose your business, to see where the problems are. And already I've just heard people, they've got issues already, and we'll deal with those issues. And maybe on that form, when you fill that form, make sure that you fill out as honest as you can be. Just be honest with the questions and answer them. It's just for us to get an idea of where your business is and what assistance do you really need, so that we can have a working coaching plan for you. And then you will have tools and templates that will be sent to you, and I think we have sent that to you already. And then these tools, I would need them sent by the 3rd of September. And you'll see there I mentioned supporting docs. Supporting docs is if I want to help Thabiso because he's struggling with something, I might say, hey, Thabiso, let me see maybe your registration documents. You can send that to me so that I can help you better. Or let me see your bank statement, whatever. Or I need your ID and whatever to maybe assist you with something. So those are the supporting docs that I'm talking about. It's just business related documentation that we might need from you, especially with regards to financial recording, or if you are using a certain system, I want to see how your business is doing. If I ask for those documents, please, let's work together. You send them to me so that I can assist you better. And then also, guys, you must start preparing. I will send through just presentation tips on how you need to present yourself or how you need to prepare for your pitch. Obviously, it's going to happen on the 2nd of December, and I wish you all the best. Obviously, there's a reason why we're pitching, and we're not only pitching, remember, for money. Pitching is so important, guys. You could be talking to your customers, you could be talking to your suppliers, but how do you talk about your business, and or how do you convince people to buy your product? So it's not only for pitching for funding or pitching to investors, but you can actually talk to your customers using your pitch. So just knowing what is your value proposition. If you want to convince somebody, you need to say, I can do this service for you faster, and I'll also deliver this product. That's your value proposition. So you need to know how to communicate that. So we are going to be teaching you in the next group session. We'll have a bit of pitch practice so that you just get an idea of how you need to do your business presentations. And then, Owen, can we maybe go back and then we'll take a picture? You're going to have to maybe close the slides so that we can take a picture. Thabiso is always the first one to open his camera. I saw even in the training, Pauline and Thabiso, you are first.
We love pics.
You love pictures, yeah. I see you always that person. Every time we say pictures, you're the first one. Neziswa?
Yes, hi. I just want to thank you for the fruitful session, because with me, the challenge that I have in my business is instead of keeping records, I just keep things in my head, and then when I actually find time to sit and do my records, I've forgotten like most of the things, or I just always postpone it. So I really need to start training myself and practicing on how to write things down, maybe even develop a whole system.
Yeah, and develop something that's easy for you to use, we'll I mean that's something also maybe Nesizo we can talk about in our coaching session, on our one-on-one. See what is it that you are comfortable with, because people record in different ways, something comfortable. But you see, the thing is, the earlier the better. Don't wait until end of the month, especially with you, the type of business that you're doing. You can't wait till end of the month. Always look at things as you're going. Like this, every week, let me look, or every Wednesday, it's my day for doing my finances. So yeah, because you're definitely gonna forget. You're human, and you are also busy. Remember, and if you feel like, guys, you can't do it, you've got so much going on, get someone who can assist you to do it, and pay them a little fee, but get someone who can assist you. But it's also important to know what's happening in your business, because also when you're not tracking, I had somebody that I was helping, I think it was last week. They found out the person that they trust the most in their business was the one stealing from them. So you need to always be there and be present in your business and understand what's coming in and what's going out. So and when the minute that person approached that person got out of the office and ran, never came back, because now he realizes, yes, So you really have to be present and make sure that you are accountable and you take responsibility for your finances. Yeah.
I'm also struggling with something. My business is an enterprise. I do event management, and I also do is all in all is event management. I also do repairs. I do rent out. I organize events. So shouldn't I separate the repair department or should I combine everything all in one?
You know what?
It's giving me a challenge.
Yeah. Separated. You know why? Because these are different services, and now you see it's not going to be easy to know where you're making the money if you are not separating, because now you can make a decision. Oh, this business is doing well, maybe I need to hire another person in this. You can't make a decision if it's like combined, because you start not understanding which of these services are bringing you your income. So like you saw, even when you'll see when we do the budget, imagine when you do a sales target, how are you going to do a sales target when it's repairs and it's events, it's all mixed together. So I think you see, even your costing, remember when you do your costing also, it's different services, so you are not even pricing the same there. So I think maybe just separate it, it's better, because then you can see if there's a problem on the other services that you're providing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else, so that we can take that picture? Isibana, Latabo, we need to see your faces so we can take a picture.